Welcome to Warblog. What's this? Yeah, so we're not playing any of these coming soon games. Still haven't played that, but I've just done this one. I don't actually know where Ras al Ayn is. It keeps saying Ras al Ayn, but the map sort of says that it's this, whatever's under there. So I'll put Ras al Ayn there. So essentially I just jump into playing it. It's something they've taken a lot longer to do than I think they first envisaged. I'm a bit rusty on what exactly has happened. But I think they sort of took most of everything other than this area. I am going to put this as an object. Let me do that now. Why not? Yeah, so I think I've sort of done that on here. So if I refresh this, it's now that. So we're going to play this game. No idea what the game balance is like, as usual. I've tried to keep it fairly low in numbers, but I always get a bit carried away. But as you can see, I've given the Turkish quite a lot of air power. But the thing is, they only get 8 turns, which is probably more than enough. So sort of the idea really is that they blow everything up with the air power first. Maybe there's too much. But the thing to bear in mind is some of these are helicopters. And the helicopters are not so great. So let's look at what we've got. So, we don't have any sort of obvious battle groups. So we've got some tanks, some mechanized, some tanks, motorized, and artillery, and whatever's below these artillery stacks. So I think what we need to do is to sort of think, well, what are the options? Well, to me, the most obvious option is to just go straight through here. But the thing is, they're in towns, they're irregulars, and they're fortified. Now, irregulars get a big bonus in towns, a really big bonus, and they're fortified. So I'm not sure that that's going to be the best way to do it, but with the air power, you should be able to just blow them up. Or, and I think this is what they did historically, you can sort of come around here and like that, and sort of take this out, and then sort of slowly, bit by bit, attack this place. Because I think that whilst they were fighting, I think they just started a few other sort of engagements, but whilst they were sort of doing it, they were doing it sort of piecemeal, taking easy places, peppering them up with artillery and air power, and then moving in. And I think Ras al Ayn has been a hard nut to crack. I think they've only just taken it, but that might have been a few weeks ago, because there's a delay in everything I do. So I don't know which way to do it. I think the first thing to do maybe will be to, well, let's have a look at what we've got actually under here. So we've got some armour under there as well. So there's armour there, there and there, but we've got artillery. There's 2 lots of artillery there, 1 lot there. Presumably there's 1 lot of artillery somewhere else. Maybe there's only 3. What we got there? Oh, I feel tired all the time. 2 irregulars. I wonder what the air power will be like. Let's just try it. Oh, that's fairly usual. Not too bad. Forget the helicopters. There's no air defense, look. Well, I've really tried to pummel this one hex. 5.3, 5.8, 1.3. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's a fairly reasonable result. You might expect the entire Turkish Air Force bombarding it. They might do some damage. But why was this air defense unit not air defending? That's because he's infantry. Look, unit type, infantry. Oh god. Infantry. Put them all in as infantry. I don't want to start again. Do I have to start again? I think I will. I'm so bored of starting. Okay. Okay, let's start again. Okay, so I've sort of started again. So they should now say air defense companies. Okay. So we get to go again. Let's see whether I get a feeling we're going to be more effective than some. But look, we've got air defense units. Look. I did everything last time, so let's do everything again. See whether the result is any different. Not really. That was a bit of a hefty one. Oh! Ouch. Oh, that I was just about to say. It was exactly the same. What were they on? It was on like 6.35. Definitely heavier hitting this round. 3.45, 5.7, and then rout. I feel a bit cheated because so I've got one unit left in there. I also feel a bit as though shouldn't really have all the air power on one hex. I think that's a sort of a bit of a tight way to play a game. Now with regards to the helicopters, what do I want to do? I'm definitely going to whittle the air power down Not in volume, but instead of having 8 sorties, they're only going to have 4. Because it's quite powerful, that. I'm going to put the air power. I'm going to put the rest of the helicopters on there. See if I can just walk through this place. Right, so it's worth half in there. Okay, well, we're not using the infantry as before. Oh, we've got artillery to get in there yet. Well, let's see what the artillery can do. Is it not in range? Get up with infantry. I do these things quite quickly, and I obviously buggered it up. Hey, but that means I'm justified in starting again. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, they weren't all at 8s. They were some were at 8s and some were at 5s. So I've put it back up to. I've modified it so that the air power. These are from 8 down to 4. These stay at 5, so the F-16s are at 5. These are at 11. I've left them at 11. So the F-16s are at 5. So all of these have gone down from 8 to 4. And I also doubled up. Well, I also gave an extra irregular in each of these. And the artillery is now flagged up as artillery. So that gives us fair, not cheating at all, crack at another go. So let's see what happens this time. Oh look, there's more units in there. It's not that I'm trying to favour Turkey or this the F or anything like that. Aha! That's the air defence. 3/4. Doesn't seem to make a lot of difference, really. I think as the SDF we need to get that other air defence unit in range of here. Quarter strength. Half strength. Some of this air defence is proving potentially quite effective. Okay, so this time we didn't get that same thing. We've got the same as we got last time. 3, 2, 4.6, 2.5. Interesting. I like variance. I like the concept of nothing is what it appears to be, in the sense that situations done exactly the same way can have different results. Water. You see, even a football game, they think, oh, it's skill. There isn't really a huge amount of skill in kicking a ball. Whilst there is, training and strength and actually being able to kick the ball in a straight line. I mean, the physics of it are that it's a foot, and obviously they've got a lot of sense over what's happening with that, but the dynamics of exactly how it impacts a ball is going to have a certain degree of variance that's going to be outside the immediate operational characteristics of the footballer. And you could have a game and it just goes exactly the same, but it will never be the same. So you might I mean, I think it's quite clear that in a football game you will never actually have the same game. If they played, there would just be, the variance would be such that more often than not, maybe the same outcome would happen, and that is one team winning over the other. But the variance would be quite distinct and clear, I think, even in the goal spread. You can have one game where there were no goals either side, and another game where it's 4-1 to one side, or 1-4 to the other side, or 4-4 for both sides. But like for a lot of things, you only get one crack at it, and once it's done, well, that's history written. And then it was, oh, weren't they so skillful? People just don't really consider that, but that's the spoils of war, really. You accept that. You don't say, well, best of three, but it's still sort of a sobering perspective, I think. So we've now not only have I put in extra units in there, we've now not taken it, but we've got helicopters. Hopefully our artillery will now be able to do something. Oh look, there's some artillery. I can't believe it. Do all that up. Okay. Maybe we can just really pummel this. I don't like playing it like this, but I'm hard of thinking at the moment. I think I would rather sort of have a more overall strategy where I spread 10, 6, where I spread the air power and the artillery equally over this target area. Even if that, I probably have put 50% of it here, 25% of it here, 25% of it here, or put some down. I've just done it all on this one hex, and I consider that to be cheating to some extent. I should have just sort of thought, okay, I'm going to put, cover the whole lot. But we'd use the artillery. So what can we get in there? I'm going to go for a ground strike. We've got some armor in there. Let's just see what we can do with that. Reload on that. We should have 4 in there, but yeah, 4 in there. I'm not going to use the infantry, and we've got 3 in there, so we've got space for one more guy in there, and we're going to do an attack. And let's see what happens. I can't even bother to think of the odds. The reason being that they're strange odds, because the irregulars should get a massive bonus, but they're all about 50% strength. Well, let's at least have a think of it. Let's say at 50%. I mean, actually at 60%, and he's out of it. So there's 3 of them. So that's worth 3 points. At 50%, 1.5. They're in a town. So what's the effectiveness of towns? Let's look at the rolls. That strange thing that I've never really looked at that much. Irregulars. Defense times 4. So it's 1.5 times 4 gives them 6. That took a long time. I was staring at something. I was just wondering whether I was still there or not. 6, but they're also fortified, which could put that up to 18. What do fortifications do? 3 times multiply, so that's 6, 12, 18. They're going to be worth 18. In theory, they should be worth about 18. Now, we've done some thinking. So, we'll be worth 4, 8, 16, 28. So it's going to be a 1-to-1, but we've got a 10%, so that'll put it up by 2.8. It's still 1-to-1, but because we've got armor versus soft skin, that should put it down to, that should give us a 50% on top of that. So we might be a 2-to-1 here, or a 1-to-1. So I'm gauging we'll have about 30 or 40, and what they've got about 16. Interesting. So obviously there would, I was half on that. I doubled that up somehow incorrectly. It might be that they're, I don't know how I got it there, but I was right on that, 30 to 40. So that was a 3-to-1. It might be that they're only doubled in the town. I think that's because that's the equivalent of going down a half. So if there were 1.5 doubled in town to 3, and then times 3, 9, that would make sense. Anyway, so we've got an exchange. I like exchanges. I like it when nothing happens because it indicates there's fierce fighting, and it's not as easy as it sounds. Well, that's that. I think we're going to push these 2 armoured units this way. With mechanised support. And all this other stuff is going to come this way. What should we do with all these helicopters? Or maybe, no, we don't want to attack that. Maybe we can take out this air defense unit. Oh, maybe we should take out some artillery. Actually, I'm going to go for this because they're out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, if we go for this stack here, we should at least only have 1 air defense unit. No air defense. Oh, 2 air defense units. It's not really a lot of difference. Maybe I should go for something more front-line-ish. I'll take out some, I want to do something more strategic, but maybe taking out this unit here. or this air defence unit here. I don't think we need to do that. I think I'd like to take out something. Don't know what to do. Okay, let's just dump on this. Nope, there's too much air defence there. Helicopters don't like air defence. This is the best. So, yep, quarter strength, half strength, 0. Right. So now the yellow player's turn. The Syrian Democratic Forces. I think we'll swap out there. But there isn't really much scope for reinforcements, although we've got these reinforcements here. Some of them of which have been hit. How far can we get them? So we've got 3 movement left. So we've got 3 units in there. Maybe can't get that. Right, I want to move some of this air defence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nearer. I'm going to leave all of that there to recover. I'll leave him there. Artillery. So we better start firing at this armoured unit coming through here. Let's go for that stack over there. Right. Let's go for this unit here. 2.5. 1. 7.3. This huge volley of Stinger missiles or whatever they are. Anti-tank rocket things. No more artillery. That's it. Okay. Well, Turkish turn. I'm going to start splitting the air power up because I don't really want to just concentrate on one hex. It just doesn't seem like a right way to do it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll have 5 on here, 2 on here, 2 on here, and 1 on this. So we'll get the 1 on this done first. And 2 on this artillery stack. I'll come back with the helicopters later. Ouch. Shot down. Should really do SIAD. Suppression of enemy. There's not really much to go for over here. So I'm going to go for this artillery here. Aborted. So 2, 2, 1. Okay. Helicopters. I'm going to continue them on this. Because there's not as much air defense. Okay. Right. Ground strikes. I think the ground strikes can come in first with some artillery. To move everything a bit further forward. I'm really going to go for this again, so I feel okay about using all the artillery on it. puts them to 3, 3. And I'm going to use the infantry in support. I just decided that that's fair play, as long as I don't start moving in advance. Oh, 2 to 1 and a DR. Let's go for this. One to 3. I was feeling a bit cheap when I did that attack. An exchange. That's not so bad. Right, so we're now going through all of these obstacles. Okay, well, let's push these guys back. Push them back again. I know what happened there. So they pushed them back to there. But because I didn't sort of wait for it to happen, and I just pressed it again, it went through, and that's an error. That's PHP 7ish. Okay, I understand that. Okay, and let's just push these guys back. So I think what we're picking up here, I'm not going to play much more than this, but I am going to do a little bit of talking, is that we've made more ground this way than we have trying to crack into Ras al Ayn, or whatever it's called, even though we cheated, or we messed up 3. But my point is that this is possibly what they did in real life. I mean, this was tough to take, and we still yet to take these 3 main hexes. In fact, that one's not a town, that's a village. That might be one of the things that threw my calculations. These are towns, this is a village, and that would have been affecting things. So these towns are going to be even harder to get. But that was heavy fighting in which there were losses. I mean, there were 2 depressions. Those mechanized units, this armored unit is at 8.9 depressions. Is he? That can't be right. No, this armored unit is 8.9 depressions. That's because they had all this anti-tank stuff firing at them, heading into a town. So this town, this city, this sort of set of areas here, under here, is just really heavy going, whereas much lighter forces just whittled away the defences on this side, pushing that front line back. And so, obviously it's not a scenario, I keep feeling obliged to say that for some reason, but a simulation actually. We've taken that, and we could probably quite easily take all of that, with this area here becoming a difficult thing to take in the long run, which is what happened. That's why we still got Ras al Ayn in November, because they've only just taken it after about a month. I think that sort of demonstrates that these are more open, lightly defended, easier to take. Going through these obstacles and things is a bit of a pain, but we could probably quite easily get to this bridge. Etc. etc. And I also think it brings into some kind of perspective the need, not so much need, but the significance of air power and artillery in peppering things up. And you keep seeing this, they're bombing things, and it just makes sense. Just blow everything up and then just walk in. So that's that anyway, really. Going to leave it at that. It's quite interesting to see sort of three rounds of the air bombardment going in, but I think we got sort of a reasonable balance there. I think obviously the Turkish forces are going to win, but it's sort of at what cost? I think the things that are giving the SDF a punch are these anti-tank things. Armoured vehicles are actually really, really tough. They're formidable. I can remember stories about how in the Second World War, rumours that there was a Tiger tank, one Tiger tank somewhere would cause an entire company of tanks to run away. I don't know whether that's just an old wife's tale or something, but if you're just, I've seen pictures of tanks, and I think you've got to put these things into context. But it was just doing some sort of security work in the city or something, just driving down. But you just looked at it and you think, well, that is just one big lump of iron, steel. It's impenetrable. It's got heavy machine guns. You couldn't throw things at it. You couldn't throw benches at it, bottles at it. Nothing's going to touch that. It's, and I think that tanks during the Second World War were a little bit like that. They were formidable. They were scary. If someone had tank support, and just general infantry operations, the other side might run away. But of course, that it didn't all change, but that has changed significantly with the capability of anti-tank technology, whether it's just a PaK 30A or a Panzer Force or whatever, bazooka, even sort of loaded satchel charges and things like that, anti-tank obstacles, and just working around all the sort of various things to sort of take out tanks, anti-tank teams, obviously, but all moving up to these anti-tank guided missiles that they've got here. The tanks suddenly become quite vulnerable. These anti-tank guided missiles, they're actually worth, I think about $1,000 each or $5,000 each. I watched a book. I watched a YouTube documentary on it. It was actually on the South Front thing, I think it was, and it was basically saying that there are sort of various generations of anti-tank missiles, and each one gets more costly, more expensive, but the older ones are actually still quite effective. So they've got the old ones, I can't remember what they are, like Stinger missiles or something, and they're about £1,000 or $1,000 a round. And then you get these other ones that are a lot longer range and better armor piercing capability and more accurate. You don't have to sort of guide them in; they automatically fly themselves in, things like that. And they cost like $5,000 a round. And then you get these super duper ones that are really, state of the art, and they're like $10,000 a round. It's just like a computer game, really. But the thing is, they're using a lot of the old stuff, the $1,000 ones, and they've been quite effective because they're not just going for tanks; they're going for anything, like armored positions and defended positions. But the thing is, the point is, we've got them here, and they've got a sting. We've taken out almost a company, and so you've got to sort of think, well, how would you deal with these things? I mean, if you know that this town has got a lot of these anti-tank systems in there, what do? You're not going to send your tanks directly in there. You're going to probably try and do some artillery. So the artillery is going to be really powerful. The airstrikes are okay, but you've got a lot of air defense. We've lost an airplane already, and that's no small matter. So we've got, what we're looking at here is, to some extent, the cost of tanks versus the cost of anti-tank missiles, the cost of aircraft versus the cost of air defense systems. 50 cows, quad mounted 50 cows or whatever they are. Quite often it's just a big game of accounting. And the Turkish armed forces, I think they've actually built their own tank. Maybe it's the Iranians have built their own tank, but their tanks are actually quite good nonetheless. I think they've got some British tanks, or I think they might have American tanks. But they've got some fairly nice tanks with, all the sort of the new things on them, the sort of the reactive armor, etc., which is in contrast to the Syrian tanks that look like very well used farming implements. Obviously, I don't know, they're not in their best of shape, but nonetheless, I think when that first operation, I can remember, Operation Euphrates Shield or something, and they brought their tanks in, and there was an account of how many they'd lost and how much they were worth. I think they were worth like £20 million, $20 million each or something, and they'd lost quite a lot of them. It makes you consider all of that, and especially the significance of that. I mean, for example, in the South African bush wars, they mounted tank turrets, the equivalent of them, on just armored personnel carriers, because they didn't really care about the armament. They just wanted to get a gun, a very mobile gun somewhere. And you've got to consider, what is a tank and what does it do? And to some extent, if you can put, it's got to carry a bunch of rounds. It's got to be able to, so what's the difference between a portee? A portee used to be when they put like a 45 pounder or something like that on the back of a lorry. And you've seen them, they're using these things in Syria, and obviously they don't even put the braces down, they just fire them, and the suspension just sort of takes up all the recoil, so they're probably going all over the place. What's the difference between a tank and a mobile howitzer and a portee and a truck towed artillery piece? You got to think about, well, how much are these things worth? I mean, if I was to be doing that, I would probably just take a lot of artillery, and I wouldn't even bother with the tanks. Just roll the artillery forward as is required, in the same way that you might roll the tanks forward as required. You could probably have 20 artillery pieces for every tank, possibly, I don't know. But so that's one of the risks that we've got there, but you can see that it's got to be obviously a lot more slow going, a lot more dangerous, whereas here we're just sort of cutting through this sort of openish area, and here, obviously we've been stuck in these defences, but here we're going to push these back easily. And so it might have been a better strategy to leave the tanks and everything here outside, and to have waited for these guys to sort of, you know, do whatever it is they're going to do and see how well they're going to do it. Because they could have gone after, you know, we could have had the mission to go after the artillery and the air defence. Over here we've got air defence. Come round here, sweep through here, take out this air defence. Come through here, take out that air defence. Take out all that, you know, almost is a SIAD operation, and then go for whatever this place is called, Ras al Ayn, which to some extent, as I sort of intimated throughout, is possibly what they've done. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and speak to you later. Cheerio.